Hi guys, I'm Tanya from Van Cruiser Caravans. Every chassis we make is built by S&M Chassis in Campbellfield, so they're all made here in Melbourne. Looking at the chassis itself, so obviously the chassis will vary depending on the models, but the integral parts of the chassis are the same across the board on every van. So we start off through here with a 6-inch A-frame. A-frame comes all the way through to here, which means that you've got plenty of strength through that A-frame section. And you'll see through here there's also a support bar, so you're not going to have any flex. We mainly build the single axle vans, so we try to keep the weight down, although we don't want to compromise the strength of the structure. If you have a look through here, you'll see that the chassis itself is 4 inches, and then we have a 4-inch riser. What that does is when that is welded together, you've got 8 inches through this section, but by having 4-inch and 4-inch, we're maintaining that strength through the chassis section as well. You're also getting really good ground clearance, so being an off-road caravan, which is what we build, having that ground clearance is also integral. What you can see through here is the water tank strap. So this is how the chassis come to us, and then from this point here we build everything in our factory. So being an off-road caravan, suspension and chassis go hand in hand for being able to have the capabilities of taking the van where you want to go. We use the Cruise Master ATX suspension, which is a top of the range suspension. This van here is set up with coil, so it's a coil spring with a monotube shocker. You also have the option to upgrade to airbag suspension, which basically the coil is replaced with an airbag and it comes with a compressor, and there'll be an air tank in here as well. So a section of the chassis that you'll see here is very unique to how Van Cruiser builds our caravans. So most caravans on the outside of their chassis have a section that the walls sit into on the outside. As we go into the factory, you'll see in vans that have the walls stood up, this section here, we actually lay the floor down and then the walls sit on the inside of the chassis. So what that means is this outrigger here protects the walls. So the structure is not sitting on the outside, it's actually sitting on top of the chassis, and it's screwed in this way and this way, and that's giving the structure a lot more strength. So where you are going off-road and there's a lot of fatigue and movement, the walls are actually flexing with the chassis as opposed to being on the outside where they tend to have a lot more movement throughout. Lastly, on every chassis is the coupling, so your DO35 coupling here. So that locks onto your hitch and that rotates, as you can see through there. So foundation, hot dip gal chassis, you'll find that this is really the starting point of what you'll find in a really fantastic off-road caravan.